Welcome to Author Audience, where I'm on a mission to help you reach more people with your message. It's time to let your light shine. Today, I'm rolling out the red carpet and inviting you into my community for a behind the scenes look and what's working for authors just like you. My name is Shelly Hitz, and I'm the owner of AuthorAudienceAcademy.com. And the most rewarding part of my job is helping others get results and reach their goals. And in this episode, I'm going to position the spotlight on one of my members, Jean Wise. Hi, Jean.
Hi,
Welcome.
hi, Shelley. Thank you for having me today.
You're so welcome. And I'm excited about this interview and just the topic that you're going to share with us about your 100-day platform challenge. It's just so fun. And so I'm going to just share just a little bit about your bio before we jump in, just so people can get to know who you are. Jean is a freelance writer, speaker, retreat leader, that's fun, and spiritual director. I know we all have a need for a spiritual director sometimes. She's a contributing author of devotions for 6 compilations published by Barber, plus the solo author for Let Every Heart Prepare Him Room, an Advent devotion. She's published numerous magazine articles, and this is kind of cool. Former reporter for a local daily newspaper.
Yes, yes.
She has a blog, healthyspirituality.org, which you can find all about her, so much more. But welcome, Jean. I'm so glad to
Thank,
have you.
thank you, thank you.
So when I was talking to Jean, she told me about this process that she went through, and she calls it the Platform Power Up 100-Day Challenge. I love that because having a solid author platform is really the key, I believe, to long-term success. So, Jean, tell us a little bit about this whole concept and how it came about for you.
Well, actually, it started, if you want to call it that way, in a failure, not a
Oh,
success. Yes,
wow.
I had met a literary agent at one of the Christian Writers Conference I went to, and we really clicked. And I
Yes.
said, this is the one. I just really felt this is the one that was going to sign me, and I'd be
Yeah.
this world famous best-selling author. And so I sent her my book proposal and didn't hear. And just at the first part of summer, got my letter of rejection
Oh,
from her. Oh, I was crushed, Shelley. And it was such a sweet letter, though. She was very encouraging. She said positive things about my
aw.
writing. She actually went to the owner of the agency and they discussed it. So I think I was almost there, but didn't quite make her cut. Found out later she is working mainly with the big houses. And her comment was, is your platform's just not big enough right
Hmm.
yet. And I think I was close. I don't think I was a beginner. I was
Right.
kind of maybe in an intermediate, but I needed to grow my platform larger. And as Christian nonfiction writers, that is a key element. So I was discouraged. Decided, okay, I'm going to send this proposal off to another person, and or I was going to quit altogether. I was just all over emotionally for
Yeah.
a couple of weeks, and then I decided to take her words of advice to heart. That what could I do to take my platform up another notch? It was around that time. I think it was a God thing more than anything. I discovered Shelley Hitz and the author Audience Academy, and I just said to my husband the other day that was the best thing I did in 2015 was to become a member of your academy, all for all the things that you've taught and shared with us. So
Yeah,
I
I
thank you,
love hearing that.
thank you. And out of that, one of the modules you shared the mind map system,
Mm-hmm.
and you shared the free mind. I think
Yes.
free mind is that the name of the application we use. What I started doing was kind of brain dumping, collecting a lot of different thoughts. And then I put them into a mind map and literally created a really, really complicated mind map. Right. The middle one I named the Platform Power Up 100 Days Challenge. Counted out my days. By this time, it's about the end of summer. So it just took us to right about this time was the 100 days.
Awesome.
And my nodules on the side, if anybody's familiar with the mind map, there's one core piece, and that was the title of this Platform Power Up. And then the next nodules on the side were things like social media, my blog, speaking, products, ebooks or books, and expanding expertise. And then I just had a whole lot of to-dos then branching out from there. And I think one thing that was a little bit different about this process was I ran this off every month and kind of highlighted what was going to be my priorities each month. And I picked one or two kind of big ones, that was going to take some time, like
Yeah.
writing an ebook, or
Yes.
and then I'd pick two or three smaller ones that might only take a couple hours to get done. And each month would check more off and check more off. And I've seen some success from this project.
Awesome.
So I am really pleased with this. And it started with you and your mind map system and your
Yes.
encouragement on that way. But some of the success I've seen is I looked the other day, my page views have jumped quite a bit on my
And that's on your blog.
on my blog, and I was
So,
very
did they? Was there, a certain increase? Did they double? Did they? I mean, was
I
it?
would now I want to qualify this just a little bit. I
Yes.
have a blog post on Advent quotes that seems to be it's on the first
Oh,
page of Google. So it has a tendency to go a little wild every
this
November,
time of year.
December. Yes.
Hmm.
So that kind of overshadows it, but I literally tripled
Wow.
my page views. Some of it was that blog post, but I think some of it also was this effort
Yeah,
to increase.
and I like that you're being very transparent and honest, because sometimes you can just say, "Oh, I had 300% increase," and they don't tell you that it was this, or this. But you obviously did have an increase. But
I did.
that's also another key point. You can create blog posts around different holidays, different events, different things that can really help you to rank in Google and get traffic that time of year. On my site, Training Authors, I have hashtags for the holidays, or holiday hashtags, or I don't know, whatever,
Yes.
and it's going wild right now too. So
It's a good one.
that's another great tip. But so your blog visitors increased. What other success did you see?
I would say my email list did grow. And that was
Awesome.
something that, yes, so we wanted to see. One of the things I got into was, and I had never before, did the offer the opt-in, create something, offer an opt-in. And then if
Yes.
they wanted that, then they could also purchase a book on Amazon. And that was the book that I produced for Author Audience Academy. It's called Monthly Musing Journals
Yay.
on that. And when people opt in on the blog post, and I had this on several blog posts, they could get a PDF of some ideas of things that each month they can reflect upon. And then I put it into a journal, into a book, and then this
Awesome.
became the book that I published. And so then that became a product to sell. And so
Yes.
that, and I had never played with opt-ins and lead pages before. So that was the amount that I have learned since I
Wow.
started this project. It's just been a dramatic learning curve on that, and learned. And once you get used to it, it's neat to keep up. You can keep that up. So I expect my email list to continue to grow. So
Yes.
I can see it uptick, and it's especially the ones that connect through lead pages has really
Yes.
grown.
Well, I love what you're talking here, and I think, for people who are listening, or who are taking this information in, it might feel just a tad overwhelming.
Hmm.
Ooh, there's so much to do. That's what authors always tell me. Shelley, I'm so overwhelmed. There's so much with the platform. But what you did was you broke it down into manageable steps.
Hmm.
And what I love about the mind map is you can close certain sections, so you don't have to
Right.
see them, so it doesn't overwhelm me. I just look at what I'm working on at that moment. But also, what I see you doing, Jean, and what you just said is you built a foundation. So when you're building a house, when you're building a property, when
Hmm.
you're building a retreat center, or you're a retreat, you lead retreats, but you think about, you have to build that foundation. And so then once you have that foundation, everything else just seems to come up quick. Like if you watch people that are in the process of building a house, it seems like the foundation takes forever, and then everything's just like, whoo, all of a sudden the walls are up, and
Right. It's
everything.
like the infrastructure. I'm working
Yeah,
on the infrastructure. I said to my husband the other day, it's all behind the scenes stuff
it
right now.
is.
And you almost had to think that was going to be my goal in this quarter or this 100-day time, that this is what was going to be my focus I was
Yes.
going to work on. And that's going to pay off in 2016.
Right. And what I love is I love doing work one time that continues working for me ongoing. So those
Yes.
opt-ins you set up, they're going to continue to bring you new subscribers, new leads, potentially new sales
Hmm.
with the work you did one time.
Right.
But
I had three this morning coming across the
yeah,
email that people
yeah,
had clicked on from
I
two
love
months
that.
ago. I thought,
Yeah.
whoa, I was very, very pleased to see that. Continue to give. So,
Yes. And it's like, I like to say auto magically.
oh, that's a great word.
but, but I love that. So what, did you see any other results from your 100 days so far?
The one it's sort of I would be more personal than anything is
Mm-hmm.
I have this greater sense of creativity,
Oh,
which
awesome.
which I would have thought being kind of working behind the scenes. But
Yeah.
I still was producing. I still was being creative, and it's almost empowered me. It's
Yes.
launched me into 2016 for. I think it's going to be a year of creativity. I hope to produce more products and more ebooks and more print books in 2000 and continue to grow my platform. So it like gave me an energy, a direction, I would
Yes.
say.
What I'm hearing is that it's like a momentum.
Yes.
Like you gained momentum. You started taking action. And then a lot of times, like I've been saying this a lot lately, once you take the action, the feelings will follow, the emotions will follow.
Yes.
And you're
Yes.
starting to feel like, it's an excitement. You're starting to see some of those results. But, what advice would you give for someone who maybe is where you were 100 days ago and they're feeling really overwhelmed? They don't know where to start. Like, and they just are just overwhelmed. Like that's the main thing I think a lot of people feel. What advice would you give them?
Well, when I was down there for a couple of weeks and
Yes.
stuff, it's kind of more in hindsight that I realized what got me out of that funk was taking action. Was
Mm.
doing action got me out. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think even if they decide one little step to do, here I kind of created this whole plan and it was a little overwhelming when I first looked at it.
Yeah.
I shared it with a couple friends and they kind of like, whoa. But I took, like I said, you just take, okay, in the month of September or in the next 2 weeks or in the next week, I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I think one step at a time will get them there. And I think it's the action that'll get them out of that funk and get them some encouragement and stuff.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah, and
lot of little steps make a difference.
it does. Consistent action over time brings the biggest results. And so what I like to have authors do, and you've heard me say this before, is to look what is the time you have available. What are the resources financially you have available? What are your greatest strengths? Look at those things and then create a plan. Yeah, so maybe it's just for the next 7 days. You're going to say, I'm going to do something for the next 7 days, or I'm going to do something for the next, like you did 100 days. I mean, that may feel overwhelming to some people, but this next month, maybe put a plan for the next 30 days, but do
Right.
something and don't try to bite off more than you can chew because we all have different time available. And if you say, I'm going to do this big thing and then you don't do it, it's a feeling of failure versus looking at the time you have and realistically setting some goals. But I was talking to you about this, Jean, that I think it would be fun for you to be able to share your 100-day plan or your 100-day challenge with other authors. Do you have any plans to do that?
Well, when we were talking, and I had not I thought about putting this into an ebook, but I could really write this into an ebook using a lot of the techniques that you teach us, probably fairly quickly because a lot of the work is done. I know the benefits and the success. I know some of the ups and downs and some of the lessons that I learned. I could put that together fairly quickly and have that even as a giveaway on my blog or as a
Yeah.
selling it on Amazon. So I'm really excited about that idea, Shelley.
Now, if somebody's listening to this, where could they find out more information, or where could they contact you to find out when that would be available?
I would say through my blog, and it's healthyspirituality.org. And I blog there twice a week, and it's a faith related blog, and I kind of have some fun with it too. So I
Yeah.
encourage some people to check that out and join the email list. And I, like I said, I look for it next year to be a big year of creativity over there.
Awesome. Yeah. So definitely connect with Jean because Jean, I am excited for you to do something with this. I think, anytime we've
Yeah.
had success and we have developed a system that's worked, it's always so fun to be able to share that with other people. And it helps them save so much time. It helps them save the time of, planning out all those steps. You give them that 100-day plan. It could,
Mm-hmm.
90-day plan, whatever, it was, but it was 100 days. And then I love the title, Platform Power Up 100-Day Challenge. So I'm looking forward to seeing that come out here in the future. So as we end today, I always like to end with a take action tip, because I love working with action takers. And like you mentioned earlier, taking action is going to help to move us one step forward to our goals, to what God has called us to do. But what is one thing, practical thing, that our listeners could do today as a result of this training?
Well, I always like the slogan, plan your work and work your plan. And so if I leave anybody with that I just think that's it. Whatever that looks like, whether it be a larger one or smaller one or just the next step, plan that work and then work your plan. Do it.
Yes. So, sit down, like how, even if it's just 15 minutes, 30 minutes, if you have an hour, set a timer and write out a plan for the next, so many days, whatever, like she said, whatever it is for you, take some action right now and think about what you could do to power up your platform.
Right.
Because we're always working. We all start at zero.
Right. Right.
So
there's always things you can improve.
Yeah.
Just one thing. Don't be so overwhelmed. That was something we went through your Planet Day the other day, and it really enabled me to think that this one idea I have is a good idea, but it's not the very next thing in front of me, that I could postpone it for a while. Yes. And maybe that'll come around later, Yes. But so sometimes you can have 14 different ideas, just narrow it down to the one and work on that.
Yeah, like I said strategic procrastination. And so this may even be something that if you're listening and building your platform isn't your primary focus right now, you strategically procrastinate, put it on your to-do list for later. Don't forget about it. But, contact Jean so you know when her resource comes out. But stay focused on what you're doing. That's so important to have that focus. So thank you so much for joining us today, Jean.
It's fun talking to you.
I appreciate it.
Person like this, yeah.
Yeah, and go check out Jean's site, healthyspirituality.org. Connect with her online. And I look forward to seeing what 2016 brings for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shelley.